Hi, my name is Taylor Fife, and thank you for joining me as we discuss doing business in Afghanistan. More specifically, we will go over the current and future conditions, opportunities, and reasons why someone should be doing business there. Some of the key points that we will hit on today will be the history of Afghanistan. We will cover a brief history of how the country got to where they are today. It is important in business to learn the past in order to understand the present and predict the future. We will also cover the government of Afghanistan by learning how the political and legal systems work together and how they affect doing business in the country. Next, we will cover the economy. We will go over how it was, how it is, where it's going, and how it is conducive to business. And probably most important, we will discuss the culture of Afghanistan. Not only how people live and interact, but customs and etiquette of business. The previous categories will all tie into culture as they help to define a people. All of these aspects put together will provide a general outlook of the conditions for doing business in Afghanistan. In the late 1200s, the Italian merchant traveler Marco Polo became one of the first Europeans to travel the Silk Road. This path was used to link trade between the East and the West, and had already been in use for a millennium by the Asian continent inhabitants. Polo's travels and writings opened the eyes of Westerners to the customs and riches of the East. Now, imagine a central area of this profitable road with connecting paths to the two largest populated countries on the Asian continent and in the world, China and India. Then, imagine that area was estimated by the U.S. Geological Survey to be sitting on $1 trillion worth of untapped natural resources ready to be harvested, mined, and tapped. This data supports the reports that Afghanistan is possibly one of the last untapped gold mine economies left on the planet, with potential opportunities and profits being endless. Officially known as the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, the landlocked country is located in the southern part of the Asian continent to the northwest of Pakistan and east of Iran. The country is slightly smaller than the U.S. state of Texas. The official country was founded in 1747 and over the last century has been in and out of foreign occupation and war times. The country won its independence from British control in 1919 and from Soviet control in 1989. Following violent civil wars, the Taliban took control in 1996 until 2001, when the United States, the UN, and anti-Taliban forces moved in to topple the Taliban regime following the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. Since then, the country has progressed tremendously, adopting a new constitution, government reforms, and voting for the country's first democratically elected president in 2004. All of this is working towards providing a much more familiar institutional network to potential foreign businessmen and women. This, and economic reform following the fall of the Taliban regime, has led to significant increases in economic progress. According to the CIA World Factbook, the GDP growth rate last year was at more than 10%. This alone speaks volumes about the business and marketing potential of the country. The history of Afghanistan, especially over the last century, has been an eventful one and is directly responsible for the state of the country as it stands, now going into one of the most peaceful times in nearly 2 decades. The government of Afghanistan is night and day today from where it was a decade ago. Even though there are still many improvements to be made, which will come with time, most would say that it is moving in the right direction. The political system of Afghanistan is officially listed as an Islamic republic. Along with expressing a major emphasis on the importance that the Islam religion plays in the country, it also conveys a sense of public opinion and democratic proceedings. This will sit much better with potential investors that would be completely against putting time and money into a tyrannical environment such as the one the Taliban had. As previously stated, the new Afghani constitution was adopted in 2004, along with leading to the first democratically elected president the country has ever had. It laid way to the new government consisting of an executive, legislative, and judicial branch. Such a government led to a system of checks and balances previously unheard of in Afghanistan. This is leading down a path of less hierarchical control and less class polarization in the sense of a say in governance. Because of the effect that the political and government institutions have on foreign business ventures, this will lead to an even more progressive open market as the majority population begins to express wants and needs for things such as foreign products, foreign investment, and foreign jobs. The legal system has also made leaps and bounds in recent times. It is important to know that the legal system is one of mixed civil and Islamic law. As we discuss later, and as you can tell already, the religion of Islam is not only a religion, but a way of life, and plays the most important role in most Afghanis' lives and cultures. It is important to know while doing business in Afghanistan that some religious laws are also civil laws, and that some religious laws even overrule civil laws. It is necessary, as it is with attempting to do business in any foreign country, to have a good understanding of local operating laws before entering such a market, lest you risk such a foreign government shutting down your business or your investment. Talk of foreign investment brings us now to the economy. As I explained earlier, Afghanistan is one of the few, if not the only, gold mine economy left on the planet that is growing at an alarming rate. Popular belief and media portrayal would have you believe that Afghanistan is a sinkhole that is going down further with each passing day. In fact, the Afghani economy is growing faster than 3 times the rate of the U.S. With a GDP growth rate of over 10%, Afghanistan was ranked 8th out of 220 countries. Also, as a country that is just beginning to break out of its shell in the world market, with as fragile of a structure as it is important that it has an economy that is not too globally responsive and fluctuates, at least negatively, very little. Afghanistan is just that. In fact, during the Great Recession from 2008 to 2010, when the rest of the world was in an economic slump, Afghanistan's GDP per capita actually grew by 20%. To continue, with an amazing opportunities available in this emerging market, the market for imports is absolutely incredible, with a negative trade balance of around $6 billion. That accounts for approximately 30% of the entire country's GDP. Due to the lack of many necessary resources, such as machinery and food, the country is dependent on foreign imports. Put simply, the economic structure of Afghanistan at the current time is not only set up for success, but practically a guaranteed profit of major magnitude to the businessman or woman that is prepared to go about it the right way. This brings us to the large focus of my presentation and the most important information necessary to conducting any type of business in not only Afghanistan, but in any market, foreign or domestic: culture. The sequential information that we have already covered is not only a part of the culture, but more importantly, it is a result of the culture because the country and its institutions are comprised of and made by the people of the Afghani market's culture. One of the main features of Afghani culture, as I hope you've been able to pick up on, is the Islamic religion. It is not only a religious preference, but nearly every aspect of Afghani life revolves around the Islamic faith, from work weeks to laws and to family life. It is so pertinent that the CIA World Factbook reports that Muslims, either Sunni or Shia, account for 99% of the religions in the country, while only 1% is allocated for other religions. Some key points to remember as a possible foreign investor are things such as obligations for Muslims to pray 5 times a day, Friday being the Muslim holy day, everybody's off work, and during the holy month of Ramadan, all Muslims fast from dawn until dusk and are only allowed to work for 6 hours a day. This religion is directly tied to the behaviors, customs, and actions of the Afghani population and influences how business is conducted. It is important to know that because of religious beliefs and ancient customs, that Afghanistan is a predominantly patriarchal society. It is crucial to conducting business as a foreign merchant to learn the customs of a culture, and therefore research and understand the roles of the separate genders, as crossing outside of these roles could ruin business relationships and even offend some. In more urban areas of Afghanistan, women are beginning to dress more modern. However, many females dress head to toe in the traditional chadoris, which were required by all women under Taliban rule. It is also vital to recognize that many males will view Western women as promiscuous due to their lack of adherence to Islamic way of life. In greeting, men and women will rarely ever shake hands, and even less likely speak directly to one another. Also, it is custom that men and women avoid eye contact with one another. Mixing of genders only occurs within families, which is the single most important unit in the Afghan culture. For foreign women, it is important to learn the rules and abide by them, such as, if a man speaks directly to you in a social situation, he is dishonoring you. You should always wear loose-fitting clothing, and a headscarf is preferable. Likewise, men should learn and follow the same gender rules as well. For instance, you should avoid initiating social conversations with women, as it is deemed inappropriate. Also, avoid asking other men about their wives or their female relatives. Now, considering all that was said, if you are a businesswoman or if you have female employees, don't throw the idea of business in Afghanistan out the window just yet. Afghanistan has gone through great advances in women's rights since the fall of the Taliban regime, to the point that the Constitution that they drew up and abide by today requires the legislative branch of government to have at least 68 female members and at least one for each province. Not only allowing but requiring female membership in government speaks volumes about the steps moving forward in women's increased liberties. There are a few other significant bullets to know about Afghan people and culture that should be considered by merchants. For marketing communication purposes, regardless of your field of business, it is crucial to understand that the literacy rate is much lower than that of most countries. Only 28% of the population is literate, with 43% of those being males and 13% of those being females. This needs to be taken into account when deciding how to reach your customers. Also, host national employees will play to your advantage, as 40% of the population is unemployed, and with a currency exchange of roughly 50 Afghans to the US dollar, labor will not only be easy to find, but in most cases be extremely cheap. Culture has a lot to do with everything we have discussed, and therefore a lot to do with business interaction. This is why it is so crucial to know and understand the customs of a foreign market. Knowing some business etiquette will help you be successful. A large difference in Afghanistan is that Afghanis are very indirect in their speech, answers, and negotiations, whereas Americans are usually very direct and to the point. One thing that they do have an abundance of in Afghanistan is time. Therefore, for the people, life enjoyment is a priority. As a result, business meetings will work on very loose time schedules, and it is common for persons to arrive late or even get up and walk out of the room during a business meeting. Continuing, it is rude to jump directly into questions or negotiations without first inquiring about a person's well-being. This means that there is a usual and expected elongated greeting process before any type of business is actually discussed. This part is very important as a businessman or woman, as establishing trust is essential to any successful business deal in Afghanistan. Without trust, your chances of success are slim at best. Honor and shame are big parts of Afghan culture, so be sure to never express yourself in too direct of a way. Make accusations, pin blame, or speak down to anyone. As far as negotiations are concerned, Afghans do so with a win-lose mentality. There is always a strong party and a weak party in any negotiation. It is smart to start ridiculously high and slowly work your way down while expressing what you are losing by lowering your offer. Always recall that you are trying to build a relationship and hint that a deal with you or your company will bring recognition. Remember that learning how to negotiate according to local customs and how to conduct a proper business meeting can be the difference between a successful business transaction and exile from a potential market. Today we have discussed the background of necessary information for conducting business in Afghanistan. We have covered a brief history, the government, the economy, and how all of these tie together as a result of and to create the culture and the business culture of Afghanistan. Along with an untapped source of resources, cheap labor, a fast-growing economy, and a tremendous import market located on one of the most profitable trade routes in the world, I hope that I have shown you the opportunities that await. I hope that you have learned some helpful information that will help you on your long journey to success in Afghanistan. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Assalamu alaikum.